Welcome to another edition of Chalk It Up Sports. I'm your guy, Tone DeShields II. I appreciate you guys for being here. You guys know how I always start the show with gratitude. I appreciate you guys. Make sure you guys continue to stay locked in. The content does not move without the people. Make sure you guys smash that like button. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the show, especially if you're new. And maybe you've been watching my videos for a long time, but maybe you forgot to subscribe, or maybe you forgot the power of that like button, right? Make sure you guys stay attuned with that because it really helps the content grow, really helps the platform grow, and overall it just makes you that much more locked in on what's going on here at Chalk It Up Sports. So make sure you guys stay active, stay locked in, and again, make sure you guys stay engaged. Continue to comment below, continue to stay in the know, stay locked in on your Philadelphia Eagles, because that's what we do here. I don't want to waste any time here, right? I have a special guest coming on in about 30 minutes, about 25 to 30 minutes. And I'm not going to waste too much time here with you guys. Normally, I start the show with doing a little bit of promo, a little bit of housekeeping, a little bit of marketing for myself, but we're going to do that at another time. I want to get right to it with you guys. All right. ESPN decided to drop what they deem as a bombshell on the Philadelphia Eagles organization, and quite frankly, on the NFL landscape. And in my humble opinion, I was going through it and I was saying to myself, I could have swore I heard this stuff before. I could have swore this is what we all knew already. But I'm getting ahead of myself here. ESPN dropped an article detailing the feud and the dysfunction between Nick Sirianni, head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles, and Jalen Hurts, the franchise quarterback of the Philadelphia Eagles. Need I remind you guys, Jalen Hurts, he's a $255 million man. They paid him a large sum contract last offseason. And Nick Sirianni, if I'm not mistaken, I believe he's in the final year of his head coaching deal with the Philadelphia Eagles. I don't want to speak out of turn, but I think they gave him a 4-year deal initially. So we haven't heard any talks of them extending him quite yet. But this article written by ESPN's Tim McManus and Jeremy Fowler, it was released this morning at 6 a.m. Eastern time. And again, it details the so-called feud and issues between Jalen Hurts and Nick Sirianni as it pertains to the 2023 NFL season. And what I want to do with you guys, I want to go through this article with you, line by line, word by word, paragraph by paragraph, because me personally, although the article was something I didn't expect to hear this morning, I actually thought this was put to bed at this point because we're so close to the 2024 season. And honestly, I didn't quite frankly find it enlightening. There were certain details that made me feel better about my quarterback, but there was nothing written in this article that truly reinvented the wheel as it pertains to what we know about the Eagles. Because let's just, you know what? Let's just get to the article. Let's get to the article. We're going to break it down bit by bit together. So far, we got about 18 people on the live stream. Appreciate you guys. Shout out to Philly 404. He says, not this feud stuff again. Ray Bailey says, my guy Tone was good. How you feeling, man? The Go Michi says, what's good, Tone? From what I've seen from the article, the disconnect is basically over the offensive scheme and also not being an X and O's type of coach. Yes. Timothy Walker says, Nick and Jalen are just fine. I tend to agree. Timothy Walker also says there are so many other things to worry about when it comes to ESPN. Why choose this? Hey, man, everybody got a job to do, and everybody trying to elevate their status within their respective organizations and companies. Let's get to the article here, because again, I want to go through it line by line, word by word, paragraph by paragraph with you guys before my guest gets here. I have a special guest coming on, and I can't wait to hear his perspective about this. All right, let's do it. So here we are. This is the article, again, written by Tim McManus and Jeremy Fowler. And normally Tim McManus isn't the clickbait type. Same with Jeremy Fowler. So I want to approach this in good faith as much as I possibly can. So let's read through the article together, and we're going to stop and attack certain things or evaluate certain things as it pertains to this team. Okay. So give me one moment here. Let me make sure my stuff is set up. All right. It says here, The NovaCare Complex Auditorium was packed. Philadelphia Eagles coaches, support staffers, and even general manager Howie Roseman gathered alongside players who were together for spring workouts. With all eyes fixed on Nick Sirianni, who stood in front of the team, the beleaguered head coach decided to get, as one team source in attendance said, super honest. Sirianni's message was clear. Last year was on me, on my shoulders. I didn't get it done. He took full responsibility that he felt he let the team down and didn't do a good enough job of empowering the players, the team source said. It was passionate and from the heart. For a coach seen as boisterous, emotional, and at times brash, this was Sirianni at his vulnerable best. His goal was to show accountability, according to a team source, and stress the need for others to do the same if the Eagles were to correct what went wrong and move forward. It was a breath of fresh air, a second team source said of the moment. It showed leadership. The aftermath of last season's collapse all but required a response from Sirianni. All right, I want to stop there real quick. So far, they're addressing Nick Sirianni taking full accountability for the way last year went. But even beyond that, what stands out to me is the fact that we keep seeing a team source here, a second source there. I think that's probably the most frustrating thing about this game that we're in here when it comes to sports and just media in general. People aren't forced to be accountable for what they put out there. People can just hide behind smoke. People can throw rocks and hide their hands, and they don't have to answer for what they say. Now, obviously, Tim McManus and Jeremy Fowler, they are journalists. And this goes to the beginning of time. As long as media and journalism has been out, journalists don't like to give up their sources. That's nothing new, right? It's nothing new to sports. It's nothing new to any sort of professional journalism. They don't like to give up their sources because that means they won't be able to get more information from that person. So for me, I think the larger issue is, who is this source? Who is this person that happens to know everything that's going on within this organization? Who happens to know every detail about Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts' relationship? I'll continue. It says here, after the Eagles followed up a Super Bowl berth with a 10-1 start, the wheels quickly came off. We know all this stuff. Let's get beyond this here. It says here, even when we were 10-1, everyone was walking around like their dog died, a team source said. There we go, team source again. All year, instead of having fun playing, it was like, oh my gosh, we lost the Super Bowl. Things were off, including between the head coach and quarterback. ESPN spoke with several sources who detailed a prolonged strain between Hurts and Sirianni during the 2023 campaign, with one source with direct knowledge of the dynamic describing the relationship as fractured and unhealthy last season. At the root of the divide, a disconnect in offensive visions, with what a team source described as a lack of full respect for Sirianni's X's and O's. Okay, here's my perspective on this thing so far. I think without this article, we knew that there was a disconnect. We all knew there was an issue with the play calling. We knew that there was an issue with how things were materializing on the field. We didn't need an article to necessarily remind us or really share how this thing went down. It was clear as day. You didn't need a microscope. It was clear that the offense was struggling. It was clear that Nick Sirianni had no answers. It was clear that the players lost faith or trust in what they were being told to do. We talked about this last year during the season. So for me, I say to myself, it took you guys, 5 months to get this article together? And again, I don't want to take shots at Tim McManus and Jeremy Fowler. They're doing a job. But the timing of this article just seems strange to me, especially with a lot of the details so far we've already been privy to. We've talked about this in the content game. Once again, the content creators are ahead of the curve. Once again. Because you know what it is? We're not beholden to these major companies. We can make observations and speak them without limits. Everything so far that's been detailed in this article, we've already been privy to. We knew Nick Sirianni didn't have the answers. We knew this was Nick Sirianni's offense. We knew Brian Johnson was a scapegoat. Because there was a point in time where we weren't sure, remember? We weren't sure who was calling the games, really. Let's continue with this article. But before I do so, I appreciate Roland with the $5 donation. Roland, I really do appreciate you. He says, Trotter Jr. looking like he's about to pass Dean on the depth chart. I would have to agree with you, Roland. I would have to agree. Thank you so much for your donation, my friend. I'm going to get back to this article. All right. Thank you so much, Roland. So let's continue with the article. With the 2024 season on the horizon, there is hope new offensive coordinator Kellen Moore can bridge the gap between the two. As one source close to Hurts put it, both Hurts and Sirianni made efforts to take accountability and mend fences this offseason, but their next stress test will have Sirianni coaching for his job and Hurts fighting to reclaim MVP form on a team desperate to return to the Super Bowl. It took just one awkward non-answer from Hurts to cast fresh doubt on whether a wound was fully healed after the turmoil of the 2023 season. Remember this, you guys. Addressing the media on the final day of minicamp in early June, Hurts was asked about Sirianni. What have you noticed about Nick being open-minded to change at the offense like he has? What does that say about him? Hurts, who learned how to dethrone even the most pointed queries during his time at Alabama under Nick Saban, offered a response that could be seen as a match to kindling. Quote, he said, followed by a pause and a short closed-mouth laugh. I mean, that's a great question. I don't know that I know the answer to it. That was enough to kick up 6 weeks of speculation during the run-up to training camp. Is the Hurts-Sirianni relationship in a bad place? If so, what does it mean for the 2024 season? Now, remember that, right? Remember that press conference. Remember when everybody questioned whether or not Jalen Hurts and Nick Sirianni were back on the same page. And let's be honest, although I didn't make much of it, Hurts could have did a better job of handling that question. He's sharper than that. But I also think he was sending a message. And that's why I look at Jalen Hurts as a guy that doesn't waste words. He doesn't say anything he doesn't want to say. So that's a gift and a curse. When you're known for being very clear and very succinct in how you communicate and being reliable in how you communicate, it can work in your favor and it can work outside of your favor, right? Because people know you're sharp. People know how astute you are as a quarterback, as an orator, as a public speaker. So when you try to not answer a very simple question directly, it comes off a certain way. Again, I didn't think much of it. It was what it was for me. But again, other people felt otherwise. But overall, like I said, there was a disconnect all year long. We saw how that offense struggled, and then the wheels came off the damn cart. They couldn't put up more than 20 points in the last final games. It says here, while both have a thirst for competition and greatness, Hurts is considered more reserved, sometimes internalizing conflict, something with which Nick Sirianni is often comfortable, according to a team source. That dynamic presents challenges when the two interact, team sources say. There was never a moment last year where they were operating in a healthy relationship. One source with direct knowledge of the situation said. You know, when you add with direct knowledge of the situation to a source, it doesn't make it better than just saying a source, in my opinion. That's just my humble opinion. It doesn't make it sound any better. It doesn't make it any more concrete. You have a source that doesn't want to reveal who they are. Fair enough. And you have people who are just having loose lips. It says here, a separate source wouldn't go that far, citing two people trying to navigate a challenging season. The season was definitely challenging, but noted that there were tense moments between the two. Sirianni and Hurts declined interview requests from ESPN for this story via a team spokesperson. Following Philly's Super Bowl run at the end of the 2023 season, offensive coordinator Shane Steichen left the coach in Indianapolis. Brian Johnson replaced him, obviously. Okay, this is useless information. Okay, it says on the surface, it seemed Brian Johnson's promotion would be seamless, but it quickly became apparent that Johnson and Hurts were on different pages than Sirianni, who wanted to keep his scheme largely the same under the premise of, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Now, that I believe. I believe that wholeheartedly. I believe that Nick Sirianni saw his offense and saw how well it did last year or in 2022 and then said to himself, you know what? Hey, I like it. It's working. Let's do it until they stop us. But here's the thing, right? When they do stop you, what's your counter? What's your answer? And that was the problem. That's what Brian Johnson and Jalen Hurts felt was missing. It wasn't layered enough. There wasn't enough in the offense to counteract what teams would do if they figured out what you were doing. Hence why we saw the wheels fall off on the back end of the season. And honestly, the Eagles were so talented, they were able to overcome it the first 11, 12 weeks. And then again, things fell off the rails. It says here, Hurts, now a bona fide franchise quarterback, was looking for greater authority over the offense, according to two sources close to him. He and Johnson wanted the system to evolve and become more layered, team sources say. I can believe that. When Brian got promoted, I think he thought I could do the thing that I wanted to do, a team source said. That didn't fly as much with Nick. Sirianni's history with Johnson was not as extensive as it was with Steichen, who coached alongside Sirianni for 2 seasons with the Los Angeles Chargers. Following the Super Bowl run, Sirianni dug in. He got more hands-on last season and took more control, including holding private meetings with Hurts, the team source said. While head coach quarterback meetings are not uncommon and something Sirianni had done before, the source believed in this case they muddled the staff's ability to convey one consistent message to the quarterback. I'm willing to believe that. I believe there was a disconnect between Jalen Hurts, Nick Sirianni, and Brian Johnson. And I believe Brian Johnson was trying to play mediator, but Nick Sirianni wasn't allowing Brian Johnson to really put his imprint on his offense because Brian Johnson was highly regarded around the NFL. A lot of people felt like Brian Johnson potentially would be a head coach in this league. Yet that offense looked very, very limited. It looked herky-jerky. It wasn't smooth. It kind of seemed like they were just play calling, like things didn't make sense. Things didn't make sense. It seemed like they were pulling random plays out of a hat. Certain plays didn't match down in distance. There was no creativity. I understand if there was any frustration from the players, let alone Jalen Hurts, because it was clear. Sometimes the body language was showing the sideline. It says here Johnson was the play caller, but Sirianni would make his presence felt, sometimes overruling Johnson in real time, as he did on a critical 3rd and long play against the Washington Commanders in Week 4. I remember that play. When Johnson wanted to pass and Sirianni dialed up a run, which didn't pan out, the line was blurred enough that some offensive players didn't know for sure who was calling the plays. That's exactly where we were. Remember, we kept asking ourselves, who's really calling the plays? Who's really responsible for the offense? Because right now, this is not smooth. And based off how herky-jerky it was, it resembled the 2020 offense, right? It resembled, or the 2021 offense, excuse me. It resembled that year because things didn't really get flowing until Shane Steichen took over the play calling. When Nick Sirianni was doing it, there was this lack of smoothness to it. Let's continue here. The Eagles' run-pass option attack was a staple under trusted offensive line coach Jeff Stoutland, and the Eagles had good enough personnel to overcome schematic challenges, at least for a while. But as multiple rival coaches pointed out, the Eagles essentially rolled the ball out and expected to win when it came to their scheme, to which defenses adjusted. As offenses league-wide rely increasingly on motions and shifts before the snap to misdirect opponents, the 2023 Eagles posted a 10.9% pre-snap motion rate, last in the league and 11% lower than the league average. Okay, this is just numbers and stuff. Okay, it says Eagles coaches tried to find common ground. During the season, Sirianni and Johnson held a meeting with Hurts and urged him to open up more to teammates, according to a team source. I just think they sensed the vibe was off overall, the source said. The source noted that Hurts did make efforts to speak up, either with teammates or requests for tweaks within the offense. It's not his personality to make demands, the source said. The Eagles kept winning, albeit in shaky fashion. Okay, here. Let's find something more interesting here. All right. We remember the Seahawks game where they threw that deep ball. They tried to say they were trying to go for a pass interference, things of that nature. We remember that. Let's go to somewhere else. It says here, Jalen doesn't give Nick Sirianni enough credit, the source added. A lot of what we do well does stem from Nick. One team source described it as a Hurts trying to play hero ball. Another put it this way: he was trying to prove he was worth $250 million every throw. I don't know how much I buy into that, but at the end of the day, when you get paid that kind of money, there is a part of you that feels like you need to justify it, right? I feel like that goes for anybody. If you get a new job, if you get a new role, if you get a new anything, and people are dependent on you, you feel the need to sort of overcompensate and prove that they made the right decision. Even the lone win during that slide, a 33-25 home victory over the New York Giants on Christmas Day, did little to lift team spirit. As the locker room opened to reporters, Hurts and receiver Devontae Smith were locked in a serious discussion near the receiver stalls, with Hurts doing most of the talking. Yeah, we got 11 wins, but I'm not happy, Smith told reporters. It needs to be better for what I want to do. What everybody else here is what wants to do, what we want to be. We're nowhere near that. So, no, I'm not happy. This is Devontae Smith. Obviously, A.J. Brown declined to speak. We remember that. He didn't want to talk for a while. It says here, having been raised by a football coach, showing respect and deference toward his coaches is high atop the priority list for Hurts, a source close to him said. But there is no greater pull than his to win. Hurts' desired direction for the offense did not materialize over the course of the 2023 season, which became a source of disappointment. He believed the Eagles were overly reliant on vertical routes. We all believe that, and not utilizing short to intermediate throws, particularly over the middle of the field where Brown has thrived in his career, a source close to Hurts said. His hope was things would change as the Eagles began to lose games, but the change never came. Okay, let's stay there for a second, right? There's always been this narrative surrounding Jalen Hurts in terms of he can't read defenses or he can't run complex offenses, right? That was always the narrative surrounding Jalen Hurts. But the reality is Jalen Hurts is seeking complexity. Jalen Hurts is seeking a multi-layered offense. Jalen Hurts is seeking direction from his coaches. He wants to get better, right? And let's just call it what it is, right? I've learned this from listening to reporters. I've learned this from my man John McMullen. I've learned this from Seth Joyner. I've learned this from Bear Brooks. I've learned this from my man Coach Marcus from Pro Fan Talk. I've learned this from all those people. That at the end of the day, players don't have to like you. Players don't care about the relationship. What they care about is, can you make me better? Can you get me over the mountain? Can you help me access a part of my game that I couldn't access before? Can you challenge my football attitude and force me to look at the game in a different way so I can take my game to another level? These players don't care about being best friends with coaches. And I think a little bit this article focuses too much on them trying to be best friends, when in reality, they don't need to be best friends. This isn't about them being friends. I think the real crux of this article is the fact that Jalen Hurts lost some level of confidence in Nick Sirianni's ability to make him better. I think that's the real axis of this conversation or of this article. Because at the end of the day, when they went as far as they did in 2022, Jalen Hurts said, okay, we got to take this to another level because teams will catch up. They're going to catch up. And Nick Sirianni did not have the foresight. Was it lack of foresight? Was it arrogance? Whatever you want to call it, he did not have the foresight to understand that you had to stay ahead of the curve. You were in the Super Bowl. Teams were watching you. Everybody was at home watching your offense flow at a high level. They were studying you. You were the team to beat in the NFC, and everybody studied you. You should have spent more time studying yourself. And I hate that we're even going through this because this is old news. And I'm really focused on the present. I'm really focused on the future and how good this team can be, right? And again, a lot of the stuff in this article is not news to us. It's not. And that's what happens when, national media get their hands on our personal business, right? This is what happens. Nothing so far. There's nothing in this article that really surprised me, except for the fact that there was more details regarding Jalen Hurts' displeasure with the way the offense is being played. As far as there were too many vertical routes, they should have had more short to intermediate things across the middle, things like that. They had us thinking Jalen Hurts couldn't do it. When in reality, we knew it was the coaching. We knew it. It says here, counteracting the way defenses were attacking them proved problematic, particularly when it came to the blitz. Hurts's numbers against extra rushers dropped almost across the board from the season prior. Most notably, he threw the most interceptions in the league against the blitz in 2023 and went from 9th to 30th in touchdown rate. No team turned up the heat more. No team turned up the heat more than the Giants. Hurts was blitzed on 68% of his dropbacks in Week 16 against the New York Giants and 63% in the rematch Week 18, the two highest blitz rates against Hurts in his career. That should have told you everything. Let me take it a step further. It says, with the playoffs approaching, and this is the part of the article that really stands out to me. It says, with the playoffs approaching and the hunt for improvement unending, Hurts made an unusual move. He called former Giants defensive coordinator Wink Martindale, who had parted ways with the New York Giants following Week 18. Wink Martindale says, I've been doing this for 40 years. And it's the first time I've had an opposing quarterback call me up. I thought it was pretty cool that the guy called. It shows you what kind of pro he really is. He's just looking at every angle that he can to get better. The phone call lasted about a half an hour, Martindale told ESPN. They discussed weaknesses in Philadelphia's protection and how New York tried to game plan him. It was very effective, and he knew it. And he just wanted to know why we did certain things that we did. Then he went to work on that, Martindale said. You can't tell me Jalen Hurts is not built to last. You can't tell me Jalen Hurts doesn't seek greatness. This is the epitome of being the best you can be. The only way you can grow as a human, as a person, in any walk of life, you have to have the ability to not only self-scout, you have to be able to look in the mirror and say, you know what? Something's missing from my game. What can I do to attain it? Who can I speak to? You seek help. You seek resources. You seek specialists. As a matter of fact, you talk to the op. You reach out to the op. Well, by then, Wink Martindale wasn't the opposition, but you reach out to somebody who got the better of you. And you say, you know what? Listen, my man, like, I know you're not over there anymore, but what were you seeing? How were you able to take advantage of us? Because all it does is expose how limited Nick Sirianni was with the X's and O's. The New York Giants took advantage of you. The Cardinals took advantage of you. The Seahawks took advantage of you. The Cowboys, the Niners. It got so bad they couldn't put up more than 20 points a game in the final 5 games of the season. They couldn't put up more than 20 points. It got to a point where the talent wasn't enough. The talent wasn't enough. And Jalen Hurts keeps preaching it. This article drops in such fascinating timing. And it really adds credence to the mantra Jalen Hurts has been pushing all offseason and all training camp. Talent is not enough. Great teams win championships, not talented ones. Let me get to this last part of the article, and then I'm bring on my guest real quick. I appreciate him for taking the time out. Let me get to a part that really sticks out to me. All right, where are we? It says Sirianni has been bold in his attempts to fix it all. Multiple team sources said, in hiring former Dallas Cowboys and Chargers offensive coordinator Kellen Moore, Sirianni has assumed much more of a hands-on approach to the offense, a hands-off approach to the offense, and has given Hurts more space. Interactions between Sirianni and Hurts during practice this spring and summer have appeared limited, while Moore shepherds the offense. Here we are. I think we're in a great place, Hurts said at the start of training camp. I think anytime you have any frustration, anytime you have any adversity that you have to overcome, it's supposed to test you. It's a matter of being on the same page. If we were on the same page, we maybe would have accomplished the things we would have last season, and we didn't. And that's a learning experience. Man, oh, man. Like I said, there's nothing really in this article that truly, truly shocks me. Obviously, the Wink Martindale angle is pretty enlightening. And hearing that Jalen Hurts actually wanted a more complex offense, that's reassuring. But I've spoken a lot, and I really want to get my guest up. I really want to get my guest on here. This brother has a thriving YouTube channel covering the Philadelphia Eagles. He's doing an amazing work. Former player for the Philadelphia Eagles. He's an Eagle alumni. one of my good friends in this content game. I appreciate him every time he makes himself available to me. I texted him this morning and I said, listen, please tell me you're free. Please. Because he's the only person I could think of that I wanted to talk to about this. And lo and behold, he made himself available to me. I give you none other than the good brother, Pro Fan Talk. Coach Marcus, what's good, big dog?
What is going on, man? What is going on?
You tell me because this article came with fantastic timing, and I've been saying all throughout the show before you came on that there's nothing really in this article that really blows my mind or
not a thing,
or that's not really enlightening. Obviously, the Wink Martindale angle is pretty interesting, and hearing that Jalen Hurts wanted a more complex offense, he felt like they were relying too much on explosive plays, things of that nature. It speaks to his football acumen and where he's trying to take his career. But I've spoken a lot. I want to get your instant reaction to the article, and then I want to get where you are now. After,
real quick, because this came out while you were on the air, and this is from Simone posted this.
Okay,
and it is just a real quick clip of Jalen Hurts. Somebody asked him. I think it was Johnny Mack asked him about the article, and he was like, "Why is that relevant now?" And Johnny Mack was like, "I didn't write it." So I don't know if Fowler or McManus were in the building, but it looked like somebody kind of raised their hand and was like, because he looked to the other way and he was like, "Why is this relevant now?"
I got it right here. It right here. Let's watch this. I got it right here. All right. Let me zoom in on this, give us a good view. And let's get right to it.
I'm curious to see where is this coming from randomly, this Wink stuff.
There was a report from ESPN this morning that said he was contacted
before the Bucs game. Something so long ago. Why is that relevant now?
I didn't write it.
First we heard it out today.
Yeah. Who wrote it?
I wrote it. Yeah.
Okay. Well, why is that relevant now?
Why is it relevant?
Yeah.
Trying to give proper context.
Oh, I gotta hear this whole thing. Oh my God. I gotta hear this whole thing, yo. I'm gonna find it at some point later on, but because
I gotta go back to that press conference.
I like the energy he on. I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah.
I like the energy Hurts is on. Why is it relevant now? Well, I didn't write it. That's my guy McMullen. I love him. He said, "Hey, I didn't write it." He said, "Well, who wrote it?" "Oh, you wrote it." "Oh, well, what's up?" So
exactly.
I want you to take the floor, please.
Exactly. And here's a good analogy for that. If you start in a new year and you got somebody that comes into camp and all they talk about is the stuff that they did, the yards that all of the stats that they got last year. Vets will tell you, "Dude, that's last year. I need to know what you're going to do this year. You can't talk about last year. You did what you did then, but this is a whole new ball game." It's the same situation. And this is where the terrestrial media, we've talked about this before, Tone, the terrestrial old school media meets the social media new landscape, and they kind of collide. And at the end of the day, everybody is guessing because you already know how I feel about that dude named Sources. You already know how I feel about that. Nobody is the stuff that, first of all, what you said was 100% correct. I agree with you 100%. There was no new information in there that to me was relevant or that would have swayed my opinion one way or the other.
Right.
I agree with you. The Wink Martindale stuff was kind of okay, I didn't see that coming, but that makes sense. You're looking for an outside perspective. Not the first time I've seen stuff like that happen. But okay. But the information, the overall story, you could have wrote that story a week after the season ended and you would have the same feedback.
Exactly.
Because there's nothing new coming from it. So I'm like, what are people looking for? And again, I will say this, and I don't want it to sound like I'm trying to be, I play pro ball and all of that kind of stuff. But having been in a locker room and understanding the dynamics of relationships in a locker room, it is 180% different than what people see on the outside looking in. And when people get when you get nuggets or sources And rest assured that sources is not somebody on that team. Because if anybody ever, and it would probably be very easy to figure out who a source was if it was coming from the team.
Right.
And you get outed as a rat on your team, that is horrible. That is horrible.
You can't come back from that.
You can't come back from that because you done broken the trust on the team. The team is like a family. And when you break that trust, people will ostracize you, don't want to deal with you. That whole thing, that is a real element in a locker room because you don't want why you think T.O. and McNabb got so nasty. So to me, that is your textbook example of what a fractured locker room is. And we did not have that last year. Far from it. And I said it before and I'll say it again. I think, in my opinion, the reason why the situation didn't get much worse was because the way that Sirianni had a relationship with all of them guys on that team. He is a player's coach. Whether you like him or not, people tend to like him in the locker room and they play for him. Fletch said as much, and a whole bunch of other players have said as much. And the reason why I bring up Fletch, we talked about this before. Fletch didn't have to say nothing. He was on his way out. He didn't have to say a damn thing, but he did. And to me, I'm like, he could have kept that quiet. He could have walked away and nobody would have been the wiser. That benefit, him back in Sirianni served no purpose and he got no gain from it. So why did he do it? He did it because it meant something, and the relationship he had with Sirianni and everybody else in that locker room means something. So everybody on the outside looking in, they're just guessing. This article, I'm with you. Why did it come out now? Why? What difference does it make now?
Yeah, because I was reading it and I was trying to find the newness. I was trying to find and look, everyone's trying to sell something, right? Look, even me on my thumbnail, I said ESPN dropped the bombshell. But as I'm reading it, I'm like, not a bombshell to me, but maybe a bombshell to others. And they're marketing it as a bombshell. So why not I market it as a bombshell as well? Nonetheless, I'm reading the article and I'm just saying to myself, okay, I want to pay attention to how each individual is being painted here. From my perspective, Brian Johnson was painted as a mediator / scapegoat. Jalen Hurts was painted as someone who was being held back by his head coach. And Nick Sirianni was being painted as someone who's arrogant and stuck in his ways. What's your perspective on that dynamic?
I can see that happening. You trying to Johnson stuck in the middle, because I remember saying that, this is going to be good because Jalen Hurts knows Brian Johnson. They got a history. And then I remember people coming out saying, it's not like you think it is. That relationship is not as tight as people think it is. And I'm like, okay. And the way it played out, because I remember saying, I was like, they could not have went to bat for Brian Johnson and this be the end result. He had to show them something better than this. So something's not adding up. The math ain't mathing. So from that standpoint, that kind of makes sense that Sirianni wants to do his thing. And it is quite clear to me, at least, when we went to the Super Bowl, Shane Steichen's fingerprints was all over that. Now, yes, Sirianni had a relationship with Steichen from before, and maybe he was just more intimately educated in what Steichen wanted to do. That makes sense. But now it's all him. He put his hands on it. Now you got an outside source. And, hey, I want to do this my way. I'm the OC. Let me do it this way. But he still, Sirianni's still driving the car, and he got his ways to do things. And it's like, I guess the question is, do the Philadelphia Eagles have an offense, or did Brian Johnson have an offense? And now you can ask that same question now. Is it the Philadelphia Eagles offense, or is Kellen Moore bringing his system in? And for everything we've heard and seen, it looks like this is Kellen Moore's design, not the Eagles offense. Because remember, Sirianni said that last year. This is the same offense. This is the same thing we did when Steichen was here. This is the Eagles' offense.
Right. He kept saying, this is my offense. This is my
Right.
offense. And it's funny. And even the story came out earlier this offseason about how, oh yeah, this was Nick Sirianni's offense. I'm like, he been saying that all year. Like, it's blowing my mind how they're so late to the party with everything that the content creators have been locked in on. We watched the press conferences. We've been locked in. He been saying even the homegrown journalists in Philadelphia, and that's why they don't get. Don't you find it fascinating how it's always the national guys that happen to get these major articles, these major stories about these organizations, whereas the people on the ground, they're more privy to the situation than anybody else. Hence why this kind of article wasn't released by them.
Correct.
You feel what I'm saying? Any one of them could have wrote this kind of article, but why would they? It's nothing enlightening about it.
Yeah, I put a tweet out earlier. I was like, y'all just take a gander at what's going on in San Francisco. That's drama. They about to lose their number one wide receiver. And they about to put more pressure on their quarterback that some don't even believe is worthy of being in that position. And for all intents and purposes, Ayuk looks like he about to be shipped out. That's drama.
Yes.
That's drama. The stuff that we dealing with, people got to understand, regardless if you have a great season or a horrible season, there is always 100% always going to be issues in the locker room. It's bound to happen. You don't deal with people, you deal with personalities. And at some point in time, personalities are not going to get along.
It's over 90 people in that building. It's over 50. It's only 50 people, over 50 people on the active roster. You put, then you add in coaches, you add in training staff, you add in front office. A football team, it's the reason they call it the greatest team sport on the planet.
Right.
There's so many moving parts and mechanisms that help us stay moving in the right direction. And there's so many pieces and mechanisms that can force it to go in the opposite direction, right? And I think what's being overblown in this article, and I mentioned it before you came on, what's being overblown in this article is the idea of friendship or relationship. And my thing is, these are grown-ass men who get paid millions of dollars to do a job. And quite frankly, whether they're going to dinner together, having picnics together, and going to each other's kids' recitals, whatever it may be, that means nothing to me.
Absolutely nothing.
Quite frankly, for me at least, and you taught me this, and Barry Brooks taught me this, and Seth Joyner taught me this, and John McMullen taught me this, right? At the end of and Gary Cobb taught me this. At the end of the day, pro athletes, they don't care about nothing in your personal life. There's one thing they care about. Can you make me better?
Exactly.
Can you help me get my game to the next level? Can you introduce me to something that can help me view the game in a different way so I can access a certain tier of my game that I didn't think was possible? That's what these players care about. They care about, can you get me better and can you get me paid? As simple as that. They don't care. They don't care about nothing else beyond that. So for this narrative to be constantly manufactured and overblown about this dynamic between Nick Sirianni, again, we all know there was clearly some dysfunction last year. We all knew that these players, not just Jalen Hurts, AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, they all lost faith in what was being told to them on a day-to-day basis because they saw it not materialize on the football field. We saw them run a bubble screen in that Cardinals game at like 30 and 15?
Mm-hmm.
Something like that. And AJ Brown walked up the field like, what the hell are we doing? Exactly. We got a chance to put this game away. What are we doing? You feel what I'm saying?
And nobody is exempt. That's the funny part. Nobody is exempt in this. You look at what happened. People forget what happened in San Francisco when they put their on-field defensive coordinator back up in the booth and let somebody. You remember when they did that?
Yep.
You know what I mean? Josh Allen got a coach fired in Buffalo.
Yes.
You know what I mean? That coach, that offensive coordinator wasn't telling Josh Allen to throw them damn interceptions.
Ken Dorsey, right?
He got that dude fired. Then you saw what happened. Was that Canada in Pittsburgh?
Yes, good point.
So it happens everywhere. You look at what was going on down in heck. We got Vic Fangio, and the Dolphins was making videos about kicking rocks because they was happy to get rid of them. And I'm like, how the hell you happy to get rid of the dude that had y'all as a top 10 defense in the league? Stop playing. So this happens everywhere. You're not going to please everybody. And it has never been like that. Never been like that. You look at some of the, of course it comes out now, but even when the Patriots was in their reign, you look at now, you find out how many issues and arguments and all that kind of stuff Tom Brady was having with Belichick and all of that kind of stuff. It is never all smiles and rainbows. And if it is, you got a problem. Because it's not supposed to be like that. Everybody in this chat right now, you can think of somebody on your job who you can't stand. But that person might be responsible for you getting a bonus one year. Or he might be an asshole because he's the best salesman in the company. And you ain't got to like everybody. You do got to respect what they do and keep it moving. Just make sure you're doing what you're supposed to do. So if that was Nick Sirianni's offense at the end when the wheels fell off last year, can I blame Nick Sirianni for all of the blitz pickups we didn't run? Or do I trust what A.J. Brown said and said, hey, him and Jalen Hurts was improvising some things and they got caught out there a couple times. There's enough blame to go around. So it's not a one size fits all generic blanket statement that everything was going wrong. It don't work that way. And every time somebody on the outside looking in, somebody who I say, even with Adam Schefter, Fowler, all of them, somebody that gets notes fed to them. They not at practice every day. They don't watch us every day. So they got to get notes fed to them. And then they make their assumption off of what they read on paper. That's it. But they're not here for the everyday. So, you know, I'm 100% down with what Jalen said. Why is that relevant now? If that's the case, if you want to still bring that up as relevant, well, then we can go back to when Jalen went to the Super Bowl and say, hey, our quarterback had the best Super Bowl performance in umpteen years for a
They don't want to talk about that though, because because that's in the past, right?
Exactly.
It's not relevant. What have you done for me lately, right?
Same rules apply. Same rules apply. So this is nonsense, man. I don't want to hear it. Even with the hype that Jalen's getting, he done been 15 days without throwing an interception. That's great. But this is training camp. I'm not getting pump the brakes on the hype in camp.
Yes.
Every throw was got to be a dime. Every catch was skying over somebody. It's like that across the league.
Right. Justin Fields is looking amazing right now.
Justin Fields. You look at the dude in JJ McCarthy in Minnesota. You know what I mean? And it's like, slow down. He ain't came up against a defense or a blitz or
just trying to take his head off
coverage. He ain't came up against none of that. So slow your roll a little bit. And then once you start playing against other competition, or you have a group practice, a joint practice, then you can figure some things out. But until that happens, it's like, yeah, it's nice, but I'll wait to see what I want to see.
Let me ask you this though, real quick.
Sure.
You retweeted something, or you retweeted a comment by Dan Orlovsky. And I actually like Dan, if I'm being honest. I like his perspective on the game.
I do too.
Pretty smart dude. Every now and again, he says something I disagree with, but that's life, right? I don't hold that against him. It's a disagreement. But he approached the narrative. He had a very short and succinct comment about the situation that was released by ESPN. And he introduced the dynamic of Carson Wentz and how this, as it appears, is the second time that the Philadelphia Eagles are going through some sort of dysfunction or turbulence with their franchise quarterback back to back. And you commented on that, and I want you to break down your perspective on what Dan Orlovsky said, and maybe you can add more context to what he said than I can.
Once again, to me, that sounds like somebody on the outside looking in, because the way I took it, I'm like, how you're describing it, Orlovsky, you making it sound like that's a Howie problem. Because first of all, the Carson Wentz incident really came to light with what Darren Sproles said. People forget that.
Remind me of that, because I forget what he said.
Darren Sproles was the one that was in the locker room that heard Wentz complaining about it should have been me or something to that effect. And Darren Sproles kind of stepped to him. At least that's what I heard. So that was the issue. Like, Carson was almost angry that it wasn't him. It was Nick Foles. Right? But even with the quarterback situation, that started because of Doug Peterson. Doug Peterson started that ball rolling. He was a big relief. He was a big reason for Carson Wentz's success. Then the wheels fell off, but he made the right move, putting Nick Foles in there and all of that kind of stuff. And as infatuated as Philadelphia is with Nick Foles, rightfully so, because he won the ring. If you look at Nick Foles' career anywhere else where he was a starter day one, he never finished the season. So even that hype can be limited. But the Doug Peterson thing was Doug Peterson wanted, and this is how I'm taking it, because I don't even know the real story. But based on what I saw, Doug Peterson wanted a little bit more power and wanted to make some decisions on who it was bringing up and how he didn't want to make those decisions, or he didn't like those decisions and didn't want to do it. And basically Doug was like, hey, either do it this way or I'm out. Because Doug thought he had the leverage. They're not going to fire somebody that took them to their first Super Bowl. I've got the leverage. And Howie was like, hold my beer. And you saw what happened. Because think about it. When that happened, that didn't make no sense. The guy that just took you to the Super Bowl and you firing him, that's why we ended up with Sirianni, because there was nobody left. Let's keep it 100. There was nobody left, right?
Because they waited long. They waited long to make the decision on Doug, and all the names pretty much were, like you said, poached over.
Exactly. So there's a lot.
Who got hired that year? I'm sorry, not because who got hired that year? It was Nick Sirianni, Robert Saleh, Arthur Smith, Brandon Staley.
Name me all the names. Yeah, I'd have to look it up.
I'm trying to think. Out of that pool of head coach, it wasn't many big name hires that offseason.
No,
the biggest name was probably Robert Saleh because of his ties there at San Fran.
Yep.
And yet Nick Sirianni is still the most successful head coach of that bunch. So you have to ask yourself, right? Although there was some friction between Jalen Hurts and Nick Sirianni, because I don't think you and I are dispelling that. There was something there. Yeah. There was a disconnect. And we saw it on the football field. Why does a man who has won significantly more than he's lost get speaked about this way?
That's a great question. Because nobody else, if you took Nick Sirianni's past 3 years and and let's just take that 3-year sample size, and you gave it to all of these other high-profile, experienced coaches, you wouldn't be asking these questions. You just wouldn't. And it comes from the fact that publicly, a lot of people don't like that Sirianni attitude. They don't like his personality. He's loud. He's boisterous. Remember when he was yelling at the Colts right? game? This one's for
Frank Wright.
Frank. This one's for Frank. And then he went to the what was the game where he was yelling at the crowd going into the tunnel?
Giants, right?
Was it the Giants or the?
Okay.
You know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about.
I know your point, right? I mean, again, a guy that's in the playoffs, looking at the camera, doing this, like,
people don't like that. People don't like that. Even the time
he's an easy target.
Low hanging fruit, exactly. Even the time when Jalen Hurts like looked at him like, come on,
in the Super Bowl,
don't do that. Yeah. So, but at the same time, he winning. So what do you want? And that's almost the same argument as we have about Jalen Hurts. People hate on Jalen Hurts because he's got to fit in this box, and he doesn't. He's a running quarterback. He's not 6'4". He hasn't thrown for 4,000 yards. So he can't be an elite level top ranked quarterback. That's impossible. It's the same thing with Nick Sirianni. He hasn't been around long enough. He doesn't he doesn't look like a coach, or at least not a coach that I'm used to. And the flower speech and the bad press conferences and all of that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, we will say this about any other coach: he wins, and that's what is the most important thing. So I don't understand what people are looking for, and the only answer I can come up with is they're looking for that mold that we are used to seeing. I don't think, in my opinion, I don't think Belichick would have been a good fit in Philadelphia. Not at all. And you saw after Tom Brady left, you talked to me about Belichick. Belichick hit the lottery with Tom Brady. He hit the absolute lottery. And he got that guy that turned out to be the guy, the GOAT, and can make chicken salad out of chicken shit. He was the dude to do that. He got lucky with that. He had average at best receiving core basically his whole career, unless you add the year with
Randy Moss.
And then that year they didn't even win it.
They didn't win. Damn near perfect season.
Perfect season.
But they didn't win. So how highly can we speak of it? Really, you know
exactly.
How worth it was it? You know, it's funny, right?
What do you want?
You know, we mentioned Nick Sirianni winning as much as he does, and you know, Jalen Hurts not fitting into this box, right? And you know, I think this coincides with everything that was written in the article with what I'm about to show you, because you know, Jalen Hurts. I want you to look at these numbers with me here, and these are numbers over the past 2 seasons. These four quarterbacks in particular. And Jalen Hurts, he doesn't fit into a box. He's not your prototypical quarterback. He's not 6'4", 6'5", right? He doesn't have the biggest arm. He actually doesn't run the fastest, right? But at the end of the day, him and Nick Sirianni, they're productive. They win football games. They put numbers on the boards. Yet it's still not enough. And you hear the narrative about Jalen Hurts. He can't read defenses, or he's unable to run a complex offense, right? When you read this article, it's very clear that Jalen Hurts has been yearning for complexity. He's yearning for the ante to be upped. You get what I'm saying? And yet his production, and his football acumen and his commitment to greatness is not being appreciated or shown the proper reverence. When you look at these numbers, what do you say to yourself as it pertains to everything that I've thrown at you just now?
He gets it done. Point, period, end of paragraph. That's all that matters. If I took Jalen Hurts' stats and gave them to the kid down in Jacksonville, or if I gave him to Joey Burrow, or anybody on this list, or anybody else for that matter, nobody would be having this conversation. But the minute you put his name in front of those numbers, now we got to dig into it. And, well, he didn't do this and he didn't do that.
Well, he plays with A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith.
Exactly. All of a sudden that was – so wait a minute. Because he plays with A.J. Brown, Dallas Goedert, and Devontae Smith, that's a negative because he got supreme weapons. But when Brock Purdy was doing it in San Francisco with Debo and Christian McCaffrey and Ayuk, and that's the benefit. I'm like, well, hold on. Once again, the math ain't mathing. Which one do you want? You're talking about the same issue from 2 different sides. It's bad here, but it's good over here. That doesn't make sense. So people are trying to, they hate when they want to hate, but when it's their team, it's everything is great. And that doesn't make sense. You just at least keep it equal. The one thing that pissed me off about last season was Jalen Hurts should have thrown for probably around anywhere between 42 to 4,500 yards last season.
Agreed.
But those last 6 games, especially that friggin' Dallas game, when we lost in Dallas,
they should have been layups. They should have been layups. They should have been easy. All he had to do was trade water those games. He could have just threw his average, and he would have easily threw for 4,500 yards.
The 2 starting receivers dropped the ball, fumbled the balls in the red zone.
In Dallas game,
yeah. So just he should have been right around anywhere between 42 and 4,500 yards last year if they would have just had an average end of the season. But when we say the wheels fell off, it wasn't just a tire going flat. All 4 of them bad boys just collapsed. The axle broke. You know what I mean? And it was, and I said this last year, right immediately after that Tampa Bay game. I didn't think Nick Sirianni should have been fired. But if he would have been, I would have understood.
And I think that's where I was as well. Because firing him under the present circumstances would have been, I felt like it would have done more damage than reparations. You know what I'm saying? I felt like it would have put them behind the 8 ball. And I guess, again, and it brings me to my next question about where Howie Roseman and Jeffrey Lurie fit into this. Because they kind of go unmentioned throughout this article. When you have Nick Sirianni, who may not be the X's and O's guy, but clearly something connects between him and this roster. Clearly, his voice has some impact, right? So I guess I'm trying to figure out, like, we pick and choose which coaches and what traits we want to value at any given time, right?
Right.
And not every coach is the X and O guy. Not every coach is the rah-rah guy, right? Some coaches are nerds. Like Mike
Correct.
McDaniel. He's a nerd. He's not a rah-rah guy. He's a
Correct.
nerd.
Correct.
So you trust his football mind. You know, obviously Jimmy Johnson is a multi-time Super Bowl. He has more Super Bowls than one. But Jimmy Johnson, he wasn't calling plays. He was a facilitator. He was a delegator. He put people in position. He knew how to hire the right people, knew how to build a roster. You know what I mean? Things of that nature. I feel like everybody has a certain skill set in this game here that should be treated with some level of reverence, especially when you're winning, right? And when you're winning, that goes a long way with the organization. That goes a long way in your standing and preventing you from getting fired. But then again, with how things went so far off the deep end, and with him having no answers for anything, that can make an organization very uncomfortable. Hence why things were kind of up in the air about his future in Philadelphia. Where do you think Howie Roseman and Jeffrey Lurie fit into this article that's just been released again? No new information, and I'm sure they probably handled all this stuff already. But again, where do you think they fit into this narrative right now?
Well, take Jeffrey Lurie off the board.
Okay.
He's the owner. These are his toys to play with. And at the end of the day, if he wanted to overrule everybody, he could do that. And the reason why I say take him off the board is because he's not really the ones making the decision. He's got all of his trust in Howie Roseman. And let's be real, Howie has earned that. If Jeffrey Lurie, as an owner, did the stuff that people think owners do, he would be Jerry Jones 2.0. And we all know what that looking like. So let's leave that. Keep him to the side. Howie Roseman is the one making the decisions, and he has earned the trust to do that. He's made his mistakes, but he's paid enough dividends to earn your trust. I call him the Wizard of Philadelphia for a reason. Now his situation, what I think happened was he had to have that very uncomfortable conversation with Nick Sirianni, and Nick Sirianni was talking for his job because he had to convince Howie Roseman, what are you going to do different that's going to turn this around? Because I agree with you. If they would have fired Sirianni and then brought a new coach in, that means they starting from square one. They're not starting from square one right now. But it's a whole different ballgame when you got to change a couple tires as opposed to getting a whole new car. So right now, we had to fix some things. They had to, get that engine straightened up, put some more oil in it. We got to get this thing running smoothly. And I think for the most part, at least from what we have seen in camp, that has happened. I think firing Sirianni, people could have thought of it as a knee-jerk reaction because as bad as we played last year, we still had a winning record. And everybody can't say that. So you have to look at the macro, not the micro. And I think that's what Howie Roseman is good at doing because he would have had every right, like we just said, of giving the axe to Sirianni, but he didn't. So Sirianni had to say something that made him say, okay, we're going to run this back. And I'm somebody that completely trusts Howie. I'm like, Howie, you can do no wrong in my eyes, bro. You brought the chip to the city when everybody said you couldn't do it.
That's right.
The moves you made,
after surviving the broom closet.
After surviving the broom closet. So the reason why I like Howie so much is because he has taken his lumps. He has taken his lumps to the nth degree because anybody else would have been the hell out.
And he started he really earned his keep in his league. I mean, he started from the lowest position. He started from sending letters to the Eagles organization trying to get a job. Just kept sending letters. And finally, I think it was Joe Banner finally said, who is this? I keep getting these letters from this kid from Florida. Like, who is this kid? Like, it's funny.
He worked his way through his way through the ranks. And that's what you need. So he knows about the city. He's familiar with it. He knows how the fans work. He knows everything. He's the guy you want in this city. That's why I say I trust him. If he messes up, everybody go mess up. But I will take Howie's track record over anybody else's in this league. Period. Period. So we're going to see how it's going to turn out. But I think he made the right decision keeping Sirianni. I think Sirianni made the ultimate right decision in being a CEO coach. I don't understand why people think that's such a dirty word. If you go back and you look at the greats all through the NFL history, you look at Parcells, you look at what Jimmy Johnson did. They weren't coaching a position. They were coaching a team. And they had their guys, their coaches that they knew to coach to be specialists. You look at what Harbaugh was doing. Harbaugh was a damn special teams coach. So there is some value in that. And there's a lot of coaches where it pays dividends. Then again, you take it somebody, you look at your boy in San Francisco, he's supposed to be the wonder child, the young genius, you know what I mean? And he got to the same place Sirianni did with the same result. So why is he so much better in San Francisco than Sirianni here in Philadelphia? I don't see it that way. So
why don't you see it that way? And again, this is me just playing devil's advocate because I agree, but I want to play devil's advocate with that angle because people put a lot of stock. Why do people, matter of fact, this is the better question. Why do people put more stock into the X and O's side of being a coach rather than the leader of men side of being a coach?
Because
you can't measure it?
Well, no, it's all about, to me nowadays, it's all about the optics. It's all about the optics. It's all about, a great example is you look at how you look at what Miami did when they let Flo go and then getting McDaniels down there. He doesn't look the part. He had to prove it. And people still don't like it down there. People still complaining. They complaining about Tua and everything else. If it doesn't look a certain way or notch into a certain mold, everybody's going to have a problem with it. That's just fandom at its core. You're never satisfied. There's always something wrong. But again, I'm not going to doubt that. What's his name? What's the name in San Francisco? What's
Shanahan?
the coach of San Francisco? Huh?
Shanahan.
Is Shanahan a better X's and O's coach than Sirianni? You could argue that. But when push came to shove and they got to the same place and they had arguably better weapons, he couldn't get it done. At least we can say when we had our opportunity, we failed on one half of the ball. The offense did what they were supposed to do.
Mm.
The defense is what shit the bed in the Super Bowl. So even
that's a good point. That's a very good point because you can argue that Shanahan offense in that Super Bowl against the Chiefs underperformed greatly.
Yeah. And Mahomes didn't have the greatest of games.
Right. But
so even when he wasn't at his best, you still couldn't get it done.
Ain't that that speaks volumes.
Still couldn't get it done. Then on the flip side, you look at what happened with Dan Campbell in Detroit.
Mm.
And everybody, Dan Campbell was too risky, but that's his personality. Is he the X's and O's guy, or is he the CEO type dude?
But you love it when you love it when they win it. But when he takes that same philosophy into a game that probably has more at stake or whatever, now you want him to change who he is. Right. They always say when you go into these big games, the worst thing you can do is change who you are.
The worst thing, the best example of that was what happened with Baltimore. Baltimore was killing them, and all of a sudden they stopped running the ball. Example. Like, what are you doing? But even like back to the Dan Campbell thing, they gave Dan Campbell hell because he was too aggressive. But I'm like, hey, the game that I saw, he called the right play on that fourth down, and it did hit his wide receiver in the hands, and the wide receiver didn't catch it. That's not on the coach. That's on the dudes on the field not getting it done. So they had that receiver had to go in the film session and had to just be mortified, because you can't drop that. You make $17 million a year to catch that pass and let your team go to the Super Bowl, and you fail. That's not on the coach. That's on the player.
Let me ask you this, right? You know, circling back to the Sirianni Hurts dynamic, right?
Mm-hmm.
Kellen Moore is now the in-between guy. He's now running this offense. And Kellen Moore, you know, over the past couple of years, his name has come up in head coaching conversations, but, you know, close but no cigar, right? This Eagles offense is loaded. They have an opportunity to do great things. What's your perspective on the narrative that if Kellen Moore does great and he gets a head coaching job, the Eagles are returning back to square one with their issues with Nick Sirianni. Do you buy into that narrative? What's your alternative perspective if you have one?
No, I think that's 100% correct. And that is the corner that we have painted ourselves in. The only way we get out of that, and it's a weird situation, because if it ends bad, but the offense looked good, you might have an excuse to get rid of Sirianni and keep Kellen Moore. But there's always it's a weird dynamic, because I think Sirianni is coaching for his job. So
is that their only path? I believe that's their only path, because
I think so.
You can't. What are you going to do? Just keep bringing a new OC after OC after OC after OC every single year? You can't do that. You just can't do that. You got to have some stability here. You're going to keep bringing in these new OCs at the expense of Jalen Hurts because you're trying to protect Nick Sirianni. I'm telling you, there's going to come a point in time when they're going to have to make a decision. Jalen Hurts or Nick Sirianni. Because right now, Jalen Hurts is locked up. He has his money. But Nick Sirianni, they're clearly insulating him. They're protecting him. They're doing the best they can. But if he clearly has shown that he is incapable of providing the answers like we saw in 2023, he didn't have the answer. Now, could he improve? Can he grow as a
absolutely?
Sure. I don't want to take that away from him. I don't want to remove the ability to grow from someone, right? But as of right now, beyond 2024, it's a little murky for me. Again, if Kellen Moore does what we think Kellen Moore is going to do with this offense, he's going to get a job somewhere. And guess what? Nick Sirianni is back to being the offensive guy for this team, depending on who they hire.
And does that mean Jalen Hurts going to have to learn another offense?
And another offense, and another offense?
Right.
So again, their only path, I'm sorry to cut you off, Marcus, I'll let you cook. Their only path forward, in my humble opinion, because remember, Nick Sirianni signed a 4-year deal, right? Initially. This is his contract year.
That's it.
They could literally let him go, and it'll be more of parting ways rather than firing.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? I think their only path forward, if they want to keep this offense going the way it is, especially if it looks good, you got to let Nick Sirianni walk and let Kellen Moore take over that head coaching job. That's the only path forward, in my opinion.
The success we may or may not have this year could be the rug that's pulled from under his feet. Because if our offense operates the way we think it will with Kellen Moore, we're going to blow it out the water. And there will be no misunderstanding, like, this is Kellen Moore's offense, correct? So now, Kellen Moore, once again, he's going to be at the top of everybody's lists for who's going to be the new head coach and all of that kind of stuff. So to your point, we risk 1 year of greatness, and then he's out the door. We go back to we Shane Steichen all over again. So maybe we can keep him for at least 2. I don't know.
You got to ask yourself, Marcus. You got to ask yourself this. You got to ask yourself. It's almost like, damn, do we really want to win this year? Because it's like if we do, that's that credit. Obviously, we know Mel Moore is behind the offense, but Nick Sirianni, that goes on Nick Sirianni's resume. The wins. The NFC Championship appearance or Super Bowl, it goes on the resume. How do you let that man walk?
It's gonna be, yeah. And listen, I just saw something in the chat. Who just said that? Twitsy D Jigger. He says Moore could be a good OC and a terrible head coach. And that's something that you have to look at, because when you become head coach, I think Sirianni has suffered from this a bit. You got so many things going on that it is very difficult to concentrate. Very difficult to concentrate. So who's to say that Kellen Moore wouldn't go through the same growing pains?
That's a good point. That's a good point.
That's a very real dynamic that you have to deal with. I want to see I would love to see Kellen Moore just take off, but what I don't want to see is that I can't even say that, because at the end of the day, Howie's going to have to make that decision. Is our success based on Kellen Moore, or is it based on Nick Sirianni? That's the corner that we are in right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And because I look at right now, I'm looking at the Chiefs. Everybody wants to be the Chiefs because they have a legit opportunity to go back for a third time. That's legit. But I'm looking at that is Andy Reid's offense. That's Andy Reid's offense. Everybody that comes in, they add to it. Or they might put a wrinkle to it. But you know whose it is. You know who that offense belongs to. So you're not reinventing the wheel every time you bring in a new OC or something like that. And it is a known quantity that if you become a part of that team on the offensive side of the ball as an offensive assistant coach, here's your playbook. Work with this. And we're not getting that here. Or at least the playbook that Sirianni is working with is just not a good one.
Wow.
So we got to look at the reason why I like Kellen Moore. We talked about this last time. I got to look at his track record from when he was with Dallas. The way he was using Zeke with play action, and Dak was killing us. Dak was killing us. I hate the Cowboys, but hey, I do respect the game. And Kellen Moore was using that play action and lighting us up, and we ain't had no answer for it. That's what I want to see with us because we got better pieces. So what is he going to do? And if he does have the success, I damn sure don't want it to go. I don't want it to leave. I want to re-up. I want to reload.
Well, let me ask you this then.
Do it again. Yeah.
Because is there a scenario where there's not a job out there for Kellen Moore? Because I'm trying to think, right? Who could potentially be on who's potentially on the chopping block this season that can open up a role for him next year? Is Robert Saleh on the chopping block this year?
That's the first thing I thought of was the Jets.
I'm trying to think.
The Jets and the Giants.
But you know, when you're a head, see, that's the problem, right? Sometimes these guys, they want to become head coaches so bad they'll take the worst of situations, and that begs the question: what are Kellen Moore's aspirations? Because, and also you ask yourself, why hasn't he been hired before as a head coach? Right? This is a very fascinating situation, and I know I've kept you for quite some time, Marcus. I really do appreciate the time you dedicated to me today, my man. I know I hit you last minute, and
it's all good.
You know, you grabbed the rock and you did. I threw the oop and you dunked it, my man. I just again, man. Your perspective is always needed. Your perspective is valued to me, my friend. We definitely got to connect again.
For sure.
Anything you're working on, anything you want to promote, my man, before you get out of here?
Tomorrow, I will be. My guest is Brianna Sanders.
Okay.
Everybody that if you've seen me, I do a lot of stuff on the WNBA. Brianna Sanders is an assistant coach for Xavier University in Ohio. So I was like, if I'm gonna talk about women's sports, I need to have a woman on there. So I'm gonna do that, get that perspective. And tonight I'll be on at 9 p.m. and probably getting into more of this conversation, man. This conversation, because this is hot and heavy, and it's not going anywhere. And I'm not worried about it, but you know, it's the topic of conversation. We are content creators, so we kind of riding the wave. But the one question I wanted to ask you, who's to say that please. We are assuming that Kellen Moore wants to be a head coach. We are assuming that he wants that headache.
He's a young guy, man, with aspirations. What you think that he
yes. But what I see is a trend in the last 5 years. Coaches, players, they are really taking a critical look on their position, how it affects, you know, the work and home dynamic and all of that. You see players are retiring in their 30s now, they early 30s. You're seeing that more and more. You see coaches like kind of hanging back because people are really getting a look of the sacrifice that you got to make. And a lot of people are saying to themselves like, hey, I'm already making great money. My kids already got generational money. Now I'm about to take a job where I don't ever see my kids. And you look,
and I'm more stressed out.
Exactly.
Two examples to your point.
My kid was a baby and now he in high school. You lost a lot of time, bro. Time
Lot
is
of
the
time.
one thing you can't get back.
And to your point about that, two names that come to mind through this last head coaching hiring cycle, there were two names that were supposed to get head coaching jobs, and they were this close, but they say, you know what? Never mind. Ben Johnson and Bobby Slowick.
Uh-huh.
Ben Johnson, I think he was right there. He was right there with the Commanders. I think he was on a plane. Then he turned it right around. Bobby Slowick, I think he's supposed to get a job somewhere else as well. And they just say, you know what? Nah, I like my situation way better. I think to your point, I think you're right. I think a lot of these coordinators are saying, why am I going to put myself in a situation where it's not optimal? We don't have players, so you can just make me the scapegoat in 2 to 3 years, and now all of a sudden my resume and the reverence that I've earned in the league is now being called into question.
Do you think Bieniemy went to Washington thinking that he was going to have a legit opportunity to be the head coach there?
I think he did.
Right. Now he's in college. He would have been better staying in Kansas City.
Mm.
And then you got to ask yourself again, why? What is it about Eric Bieniemy that he's not a head coach yet? Anybody else in that position with Andy Reid that long, they'd have been my first hire. They wouldn't have had to interview or do all of that other nonsense, jumping through hoops. Why is it he doesn't have a head coaching job yet?
You raise a very good question, Marcus. And the thing is, right, this situation, as much as we want it to, it's not going to go away. This is going to be a narrative until the Philadelphia Eagles make it through this entire season. Because the way they collapsed last year, and obviously the product looked shaky from the beginning, the way they collapsed last year, I feel like people are going to hold that against them. Oh, is this going to be the game where, they get exposed? Is this going to be the moment where, Jalen Hurts falls off the cliff? Like, it just seems like everyone's going to be waiting for that proverbial cliff to happen. Yeah. And whether we already know this information or not, whether this is a situation where, we don't really put too much stock into it, they're going to continue to talk about this. This is going to be this is going to be talking points for all these color commentators.
Here's where you can sift between the wheat and the chaff, right? There was two things that was consistently a gripe last year. The non-motion.
Yes.
You can kind of lump that in with the blitz pickup as well. We didn't run hot routes. And then on defense, our lack of tackling. Now, the offensive issues, I'm going to blame that on scheme. Sirianni, if you say that was your offense, I'm going to take you at your word. You said it. I'm going to believe you. So that's your fault. Defense, as bad as our defense was, our defense would have been a hell of a lot better. At least maybe lower mid. And saying that's an improvement. If they could have just tackled.
Yeah.
The tackling was freshman last year. Freshman. I don't know what the deal was. I don't understand that dynamic because that's tackling is a want. You want it more than the guy across from you. And you just, when you get to that level, that's an expectation. So I don't know what was going on with that. I don't know if they didn't have accountability in the film room. I don't know. But they couldn't tackle to save their life last year. And that and it showed. And it just made the whole situation worse. So for me this year, the defense, I don't care who's playing defense. The defense is better already. Even with losing Fletch and Hassan, even with all of that, all they need to do is show me that they can tackle, period. Everything else will take care of itself. Offense, based on what I have seen so far in camp, and again, I pump my brakes a little bit, but I like what I see so far. They're doing a lot of motion. They're throwing the ball to the running back, and they're making some things dynamic. So defenses have to figure out what our offense is going to do. Now, let's see if this manifests in the regular season. That's going to be the key. So if I'm pulling my hair out, or if I like to say, when I get stressed out, my hair grows. So if you see me come on the mic and I got an afro or something, you know they ain't doing what they supposed to be doing, man. But I think we're in a good spot right now. I think the Eagles, I think Sirianni has made the right decisions by going hands off and letting Kellen Moore.
Yeah,
and
he could get him a hard time.
Yeah, and he knows what he's in for, and I respect him for that. He knows what's at stake. He knows his job is on the line.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm gonna let the chips fall where they may. Is me, it's go Birds either way.
Yes,
and
sir.
the stuff I saw when I was at practice, I like what I saw. I like the battles. I like what I saw from Nolan Smith. Even my guy Nakobe Dean. I'm a Nakobe Dean fan now.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, it does look like Trotter. It's looking pretty good.
He jumping him, man.
Jumping him. But again, it's
early.
Camp.
We haven't been going through the first preseason game, so it's early. It's early.
So let's get some real competition and some different color jerseys on, and let's see what we can see this weekend against Baltimore. Also, be on the lookout when they play Baltimore. Personal shout out. Check out my guy Devin Leary.
Mm-hmm.
He's probably third or fourth string quarterback with the Ravens. He did get drafted. He's a kid. He's a kid I coached here in South Jersey with the GT Stallions. So real good friends with the family. I coached with his dad for 9 years. So real happy to see. I got 2 kids, Devin Leary, and there's a linebacker named Deion Jennings that went to Rutgers.
Wow. Okay, that's dope.
They both at Baltimore. So I got to be a Baltimore Ravens fan now. So it's all good, man. But it's cool to see that come full circle. Kids that you coached on all that kind of stuff, man. So that's dope.
Facts, Marcus, man. Like I said, I appreciate you, my man. I appreciate your time. I always love what you bring to the table. This is the season of accountability, right? Nick Sirianni is taking full accountability for the season. Jalen Hurts is taking accountability for his part. And like her said, talent is not enough in this situation, man. You gotta put it all together at the end of the day. Marcus, my brother, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for pinch hitting for me, my man, and just being clutch, my guy. I'll catch up with you, Art.
You got it, brother.
All right. Man, shout out to my man, Coach Marcus. Always does amazing work. Make sure you guys go check him out. All Pro Fan Talk, man, does amazing work. Listen, you guys, here's the game plan, right? This live stream is not over. We're gonna continue to talk. I got other topics in the rafters. We're gonna take a quick break, you guys. Stay locked in. I'm your humble host, Tone DeShields II. You guys are locked in on Chalk It Up Sports, where no matter if we win or if we lose, we just got to charge to the game. Be right back. Yeah. This is your boy Tone DeShields II. I appreciate you guys for being patient. This is Chalk It Up Sports, where no matter if we win or if we lose, we just got to charge it to the game. Man, that was a hell of a conversation with my man, Coach Marcus. Make sure you guys go check him out on YouTube. Pro Fan Talk does amazing work covering the Philadelphia Eagles, covering the NFL, covering the WNBA. He's just an overall good dude, man. And I love his perspective. Former player for the Philadelphia Eagles. Overall, just a good dude. Make sure you guys continue to smash that like button. Make sure you guys continue to stay locked in. Like I said, I still have a ton of things that I want to talk about with you guys. But yeah, just to put a button on the whole Jalen Hurts, Nick Sirianni thing. The reality is this: there's going to be narratives. There's going to be people talking. This isn't going to go away. But one thing I do love, I love the perspective that Jalen Hurts has had throughout the process. He's focused on the present. There's no relevance to talking about the past, and we're here to win football games. It's just that simple. So overall, the stories are the stories, the articles are the articles. Everybody got a job to do. I got a job to do. The Eagles got a job to do. If everybody do their part, we ain't gonna have no issues. All right, let's go on to another topic, you guys, because again, I do not want to stay on this Jalen Hurts stuff. Again, make sure you guys smash that like button. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the show. Oh, also, by the way, I want to give a shout out to my previous giveaway winners. They all received their gifts. Every last one of them. I want to give a shout out to Jameer Adams, who received his gift. I want to give a shout out to Keisha as well. As a matter of fact, Keisha sent me a picture. Keisha sent me a picture of her gift that she received. So shout out to her. Let me bring that up on the screen here. This was Keisha's gift. Keisha is a loyal subscriber to Chalk It Up Sports. Keisha White has been following my content for a long time, and she was our most recent giveaway winner. So I want to give a shout out to Keisha. You know, she's received her Eagles gear. As you can see, authentic, that new era. You feel what I'm saying? So shout out to her. And also I want to give a shout out to my man, Jameer Adams. Jameer reached out to me, and he said he received this gift as well. And also, I want to give a shout out to the other good brother, Mark Johnson. Let's get to Mark Johnson, right? Where are we? There we are. So Mark Johnson sent us a photo as well of his gift. So listen, Mark Johnson won the Kelly Green snapback. Jameer Adams got a hat. Mark Johnson got a hat. Keisha White got a hat. You know what I'm saying? So we're doing giveaways here. That's how Chalk It Up Sports works. I'm giving away stuff all throughout training camp, all throughout the preseason, the regular season, the playoffs, the Super Bowl. You feel what I'm saying? I'm giving away a ton of stuff. So I appreciate you guys for locking in on the content the way you guys have. And I want to say Friday, we're going to do another giveaway. We're going to do another giveaway. My man Twiz says, Twiz is funny. Twiz says, Tone, Shooter said he's still looking for his Hooters gift card. Hey, listen, I don't own Jacob Sports, okay? I don't own that company. You dig me? My job was to execute the giveaways and pass off the mailing information to those in charge. If you didn't get your Hooters gift, you're looking at the wrong person, Playboy. Sorry about that. Sorry about that, man. I can't help you. I can't help you, man. I created the code words. I handle the emailing. I don't handle the shipping. That's a Jacob issue. And I can't. I'm gonna leave it at that. Nonetheless, where was I? We're gonna be doing another giveaway this week. We're doing another giveaway this week, and I want to say, let me see here. Should we do we got 94 people in here. Should we do the giveaway today? What do you guys think? Should we do a giveaway today? I want to check the temperature of you guys. Should we do another giveaway today? I want to know what you guys think. Let's see here. Because, you know, I've given away 3 things so far. I still have plenty more stuff to give away. Should we do one? The real RMP says, let's go. I need a hat. Twiz says, if I'm the one who wins, absolutely today. Okay, let's see what else we got. And you guys, my giveaways are legit, as you already can see. The proof is in the pudding. I got the receipts. You feel me? Madness says, Tone, you got to have Johnny Mac come and talk about that press conference. Hey, Madness, you're getting ahead of yourself, Madness. Let me cook. I got something special brewing this week. Madness, you're getting ahead of yourself. I got something special coming this week, okay? Shout out to my man Johnny Mac for always coming in the clutch. I got something special brewing, Madness. Don't worry. Don't worry. I got you, Madness. You ask and you'll receive. Tomorrow, oh my God, tomorrow might be one of the biggest days that we've had. Tomorrow, I got 2 guests coming on the channel on Chalk It Up Sports. I got 2 special guests coming on tomorrow. We're going to be live twice tomorrow. We're going to be live at, let me make sure I got this right here. Let me make sure I got my scheduling right here. We're going to be live at 11:30 a.m. Eastern. I have a guest. So I have a guest coming on at 12 o'clock p.m. Eastern. Well, 1 p.m. Eastern, excuse me. I have a guest scheduled for 1 p.m. Eastern, and I have another guest scheduled for 4:30 p.m. Eastern. I have 2 guests coming on. We're going to have 2 separate live streams, okay? Tomorrow's going to be a big day. You guys don't want to miss this. I know I wasn't live yesterday. Me and the wifey went out. We were celebrating a little bit. So I had to take a night off from you guys. I'm sorry. My wife comes first. I apologize, y'all. It's just the way it works in the DeShields household and in many other men's household. So tomorrow is going to be a hell of a day. I'm doubling up. Got a ton of content in the works for you guys. You guys are going to fucking love it. So make sure you guys continue to stay locked in on Chalk It Up Sports. I think I will. I think I will do a giveaway today. Yeah, let's do that. Let's do that. What will my code word be, though? That's the question. That's the question. I'll think about that. We still got some time. Let me get to my topics. All right? Let me get to my topics. We're past the whole Nick Sirianni, Jalen Hurts thing. We're past that. If you missed that, you gotta rewatch my conversation with PFT, Pro Fan Talk, a la Coach Marcus. So, I want to talk to you guys about some injuries in particular that the Philadelphia Eagles have been dealing with, right? I want to speak on the CJGJ injury. Now, apparently he's dealing with some sort of shoulder injury. It's not significant. It's not a big deal, but it's something to think about because CJGJ has been dealing with injuries over the past couple seasons, right? He came into the season fully healthy, ready to go. And I would like to think and believe that he's going to play all 17 games this year. But so far, he's already dealing with the shoulder, and he's a safety. They're going to be tackling a lot. The last thing we need is that shoulder being an issue. So that's not really reassuring, right? So again, although the injury is not significant, I didn't think I'd be saying this. It definitely elevates James Bradbury's value to this defense. I did not think I would be saying that right now. We still got a preseason game to go. We got 3 preseason games. We got all the training camp left. I'm a little concerned. And by the way, you guys, if you haven't already, Justin Simmons is visiting the Saints today. Justin Simmons visited the Saints. So will they get that deal done? It's a strong possibility. But James Bradbury's value has elevated to a level that I didn't anticipate. Maybe I should have. And S. Blunt, my brother, hey, I feel you. Trust me, I feel you. He says, I don't have any interest in Bradbury being a safety because he's not a good tackler. I feel you, brother. S. Blunt also says, I'm concerned about that injury with CJGJ. I'm the guy who is still interested in Simmons on a 1-year deal. Brown is still out, and Blankenship has history. S. Blunt, Blunt. S. Blunt, are you reading my notes? Blunt, OG, triple OG. Are you reading my notes? What's going on, man? Are you reading my notes? I have it right here. You know, the Eagles they're already paying Bradbury for one. So should we take his fight for the safety spot more seriously? At this point, we should, right? But here's the thing. CJGJ has that injury history. Like I said, we can't ignore that. He's only played 15 regular season games over the past 2 seasons. Do the math on that. Out of 34 possible games played in the regular season, he's only been available to play for 15 of them. That's alarming. That's 19 games missed. And then to take it a step further, Sidney Brown starts the season on the PUP list. He's going to miss the first 4 games automatically. Reed Blankenship has an injury history. He was in and out of the lineup all year last year. Still played, I think, 14 games or something like that? But he was in and out of the lineup. No consistency. So again, although we may not have confidence in James Bradbury's transition from corner to safety, the lack of safety depth gives James Bradbury prime real estate to potentially start at that position. That's something we have to consider here. Do I want James Bradbury at the safety position? No. Not even in the slightest. But his value just shot up. Now, obviously, you have Avonte Maddox who can play the position. You got Avonte Maddox who can play safety. So his value just shot up. You have Mekhi Gardner back there who's playing safety now. You know? And I see some of you guys saying that CJ's washed. I don't believe that at all. He's a very talented corner. But the injury history is scary, man. And it's a shoulder. He's going to be using that shoulder a lot. So I'm concerned about it, if I'm being honest. I'm concerned about it. They don't expect him to be out for long, but I'm definitely concerned about it. I want to get to another topic with you guys. Well, actually, before I do that, let me read your comments. I'm getting ahead of myself. RMP says CJ ain't washed, but he does get hurt a lot. Yeah, he does. Jason A-Team says, I don't trust his injury history for sure, though. Twiz says Ed Reed Blankenship is no joke. Hey, listen, let's slow down, okay? Let's slow down. Twiz says, great convo with the coach. Yeah, man. Coach Marcus does amazing work. I really appreciate him for always making time for me. Jason A-Team says they think Blankenship is a starter. They're not going to sign Simmons unless it's mid-season and both are hurt. Simmons is about to get signed by the Saints. My man Pro Fan Talk, man. You already know it's love, my guy. Always love. Ray Bailey says the question is, why has Howie not signed Justin Simmons? Saints only have $8 million in salary cap space while we have over $26 million. That's a good point. That's a real good point. Fitness Warrior says Tyrann Mathieu and Justin Simmons is scary. Well, from what I heard, Tyrann Mathieu didn't have the best season last year, what I heard. Or the season before that, if I'm not mistaken. I can't remember. Maybe I'm wrong, though. Who knows? I don't want to speak out of turn. But yeah, that sounds like a scary combo, Fitness Warrior, to your point. Let's see, where was I? All right. Madness says Vic Fangio loves Bradbury. He's going to use him if he can. See, I've heard a lot of people say that. What makes you guys believe that he loves Bradbury like this? I guess I guess that's the part that I always get lost on, right? What about Bradbury makes you guys say that he loves him like that? What about? I don't get it. And look, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I just want to know how you guys know that. King Eagle says, didn't CJ only play 3 games last year with the Lions? Yeah, that's a fact. He only played like 3 games. Over the past 2 seasons, he's only played 15 games, bro. 15 games. I'm not including the playoffs, by the way, because he was available for the whole playoff run. He was healthy the whole playoffs. And obviously he was healthy for the Eagles' whole playoffs, right? But over the last 2 seasons, only 15 regular season games played in total. That's not a good sign. Caillou Ribas says, Avonte at safety is the reason why Mitchell is now in the slot. Yeah. Also, it's because Cooper DeJean's hurt too. So that's another reason why they have him there as well, to your point, though. But, yeah, the bottom line is you got Avonte, who's versatile, who can play safety. Avonte Maddox's value just shot up. James Bradbury's value just shot up. You need those guys now. Especially if CJ and Reed Blankenship can't stay healthy. And then you got Sidney Brown coming off the PUP list. Your top 3 safeties, as they would put it, are dealing with something right now. The Eagles got issues at safety. Fitness Warrior says, Justin Simmons said he wanted to go to a contender. I didn't know the Saints are a contender. They're not. The Saints are not a contender at all. But listen, at this point, he's trying to get paid. We'll see what happens, though. CL Lawrence says, I think Kellen stays for 2 years instead of 1, especially if we win the Super Bowl this year. To your point, if they win the Super Bowl, he might get a head coaching job. As you know, it can work for you both ways, Lawrence. But I would like to think, listen, if Kellen can give me, he's young. If Kellen can give me 3 years, I'm cool. Give me 3 years, Kellen. Just give me 3 years. Jason A-Team says Simmons ain't worth more than $8 million. I'm not going to say that. Clado says, we worried about the wrong person. We need to worry about Slay. He's not that no more. He's not the best athlete in the room. Yeah, man. Slay 34 now. You know, he hasn't been having, from what I've been hearing, he been getting beat left and right by A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith in training camp. Granted, it's A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, but you Darius Slay. You're supposed to get him a hard way to go. This is going to be a very telling season. I think this is going to be the pivot season for Darius Slay. This season is going to tell us everything we needed to know about his future. Jason A-Team said Vic Fangio, and again, Jason is referencing Vic Fangio and James Bradbury. He says that he's a smart player. I mean, yeah, that's true. I mean, look, if you guys saw my previous live stream about the James Bradbury press conference and the situation he's in, not once do I ever question James Bradbury's football acumen. James Bradbury is very astute at the position. He knows what to do. He knows where to be. But physically, he can't run. He can't run. He can't tackle. And that's my issue with James Bradbury right now. He can't run. He can't tackle. I don't question his mental capacity for the game. I don't think his mental capacity for the game is going to be the reason why things don't work out. And I'm not saying I hope it doesn't. Like, I want James Bradbury to be the best version of himself. But from what I saw last year, physically, he just seemed like he just couldn't keep up. Like, you saw that he knew what to do, but he just couldn't do it. Big News Dolphy says Bradbury been taking second reps and he is not a starter as of now. Yeah, I know that. I know that. But at the same time, like with CJ dealing with something, and then, you know, Reed obviously has a history. He's been healthy all training camp. Don't get me wrong, but you know, he has a history. Sidney Brown coming off the PUP list. You gotta think twice about your depth there. And I think that elevates Bradbury's value, don't you think? Jason says, I wanted to move off of Slay and let Rodgers, Ringo, and Q play. Yeah, that would have been the ultimate double down, right? Blunt says, Bradbury looks good right now. They aren't tackling, but he is sharp. Good mind, but I need my safety to tackle him. Exactly. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm talking about. You know, I know Bradbury's smart. I know he knows where to be, but I don't know, man. The tackling, the speed is just not there. And we're not going to never find out until the season starts. Clado says Slay been getting cooked all camp quietly. Yeah, they ain't really been talking about that. D. Aldridge, what's good, my man? Jason says, man, we forgot about DeJohn. Yeah, he has to get healthy too, dealing with a hamstring. Let me see. Okay, let's see. Sorry if you guys experienced any connectivity issues on my end. Sometimes the Wi-Fi gets a little wonky. Let me see. All right. All right. Let's see what we got going on here. Let's see what we got going on here. I'm not seeing any updates on Justin Simmons. Let me double check again. All right. All I see here is that he's visiting. That's it. That's all I see. He's visiting. Nothing else. Nothing else is updated. Okay. So they clearly want him, and it's going to come down to whether or not he likes what he hears. That's all I'm seeing. Yeah, man. The Eagles got to figure out what the next move is. I don't know. No updates on him, though. No updates. No updates on him. J-Dog says, question, who do you want to see more of in preseason, Tanner McKee or Kenny Pickett? Because as of now, Tanner McKee is throwing interceptions, but he's listed as QB2. So actually, the story is Kenny Pickett's been the one that turned the ball over, I think, if I'm not mistaken. And also the word is that Tanner McKee has been outplaying Kenny Pickett. That's what I've been hearing. That's what I've been hearing. I've been hearing that Kenny Pickett has not been playing up to par, and Tanner McKee has shown a better command of the offense. That's what I've been hearing, J-Dog. You know? So I want to see more Tanner McKee, though. Because I think Tanner McKee, I liked Tanner McKee in the preseason last year. You know? Obviously, he's not mobile, but can he put the rock where it's supposed to be? That's the real question. Chin A says Darius Slay won't finish the season as a starter. Yeah, he will. Yeah, he will. By the way, happy birthday to Jalen Hurts. Today's his birthday. I think he turned, 26 or 27? Let me see. Yep, he turned 26 today. Happy birthday to Jalen Hurts. King Eagle says Vic Fangio came out and said it's not a guarantee that Bradbury will transition to safety seamlessly. It's only been done 4 times in history. Only 4 times, really? I never counted, but I know he mentioned a few players that did it successfully, and it's not easy. It's not easy at all. Let's see here. Like I said, You know, everybody's facing their own uphill battle, right? CJ GJ with the injuries. James Bradbury with trying to prove that he can transition to safety. It's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. J-Dog says, you believe Johnny Wilson is our WR3? I feel like they're sleeping on him. No, I think Johnny Wilson is coming along quickly. He's getting more reps with the first team today. You know, I didn't expect Johnny Wilson to really make strides like this quickly. And he's been doing it. He's been doing it. So I gotta give credit where credit is due. Real quick, you guys, if you haven't already, make sure you check out the Chalk It Up Sports merch shop. There we have the Apex Jalen Hurts oversized t-shirt, the Apex Predator, the top of the food chain. You feel me? Make sure you guys go check out that merch, man. It comes in 2 colorways. I got it on right now. I got the black one on right now. I love the way it feels on my skin. I love the way the artwork blends into the fabric. It's the oversized streetwear style, and I love it, man. It falls on me great. Fits my shoulders just perfect. I love the way my back looks in it. And again, man, it's just a comfortable shirt, and you can do so much in it. You can go out and get some drinks with it on. You can go wear it to the gym, wear it to a tailgate, you know, wear it to, you know, the kickback. You feel what I'm saying? Like, you could wear it to the block party. Like, I love this concept. I love the artwork. I love what we're doing here at Chalk It Up Sports. You know, I want you guys to be a part of this movement here. Make sure you guys, if you're able, check out the Chalk It Up Sports merch shop. All the links are available below. As a matter of fact, like I said, the shirt comes in 2 different colorways, and the link is posted in the live chat, okay? And it will be pinned to the top as well. And also there are links all throughout the YouTube channel and in the actual live stream itself. So make sure you guys go check that out. Really appreciate the love and the support. As a matter of fact, I can show you what it looks like a little bit in person. Give me 1 second. So this is, let me make my screen bigger here. This is the tan one. Like I said, it looks awesome. I love the way it looks. Smooth. And it's pre-shrunk. So it's not going to shrink on you. It's not one of those shirts where when you wash it a couple times, are you going to start saying lint on it? Not at all. Trust me. I got the black one on right now. This is the tan one. The links are available on the live stream if you want to support. Entirely up to you. Make sure you lace yourself for the NFL season, for the Eagles season. This is going to be a season. This is the season of the apex. This is the season of being the top dog. You feel what I'm saying? This is the season of being at the top of the food chain. I don't care what none of those narratives are saying out there. I don't care what article they write. I'm not buying it. The reality is this. The Philadelphia Eagles are coming for what they owe. The Philadelphia Eagles are coming for blood. And no one's going to tell me otherwise, and no one's going to be able to convince me otherwise. It's straight like that. So I appreciate you guys for locking in on the content. I also want to give a shout out to everybody holding it down on Twitch. You know, I got a Twitch channel as well, and a lot of people are showing a lot of love on there. So make sure you guys lock in on Twitch. That means a lot to me. So again, make sure you guys go check out the Chalk It Up merch shop. The link is posted in the live stream. All right. So I really do appreciate you guys. And on top of that, we are going to be doing a giveaway. Where are we? We've been live for about 2 hours. Yeah, we're going to do a giveaway very, very soon here. So I really do appreciate you guys for locking in. All right. I want to give a shout out to Jameer Adams, Mark Johnson, Keisha White. They have been my giveaway winners thus far. And we're gonna do another one as well. So I really do appreciate you guys for locking in the way you guys have. My man Sir Jam says, I made it to the live, Tone. Catch up with you, my dude, as much as I can. Hey, listen, man. I appreciate Sir Jam. Sir Jam sent me one of the coolest emails, one of the dopest emails that I received, man. You know, he showed me a lot of love, gave me my flowers, and it's just so dope seeing how your content moves people and what it means to people, right? You know, I don't take my position for granted. I don't take my role here as a content creator for granted. I'm grateful for all the support you guys provide, and this movement, it doesn't have legs without the people. You feel me? So yeah, I can't take it for granted. I just can't. So shout out to my man Sir Jam. Also, I want to give a shout out to Fitness Roofer. Congratulations. Happy belated birthday to Fitness Roofer. He turned 35 2 days ago. Shout out to Fitness Roofer, my man. I appreciate you. Got a lot of love for you, my guy. Thank you for, supporting the show. Thank you for being here, my man. A lot of love sent your way. Happy birthday to Fitness Roofer. Make sure, as a matter of fact, oh yeah, by the way, Sir Jam, that guitar was fire. As a matter of fact, let me see if I can find that. You sent it to me too. Let me see if I can pull that up. That was pretty dope. Let me pull that up here. Shout out to the OG Sir Jam, man. Let me pull that up. He won this. Let me see. Yep. Let me pull it up right here. This is Sir Jam Eagles guitar. He won this thing. This thing is fire. This thing is fire. Look at that. Sorry, that's a little confusing for you guys. Sorry. But yeah. Damn, why does it keep doing that? Anyway, that thing is fire, y'all. That thing is fire. Sir Jam won this. I believe he said he won this in 2022, I think, when the Eagles were in the NFC Championship game. Shout out to Sir Jam, the OG, triple OG. Man, you see him with his guitar? I appreciate you, sir. Thank you so much for showing love to the content. That's a pretty dope guitar, y'all. I ain't gonna lie, man. That's fly. That's fly. So, yeah, man, I got a lot of love for y'all. Man. I mean that. Jameer Adams, my other giveaway winner. He says the movement is strong. Appreciate you again, my guy. Hey, Jameer, you got to send me a picture. Even if it's not you wearing it, send me a picture of the hat real quick so I can post it while I'm live. Hurry up, Jameer. Send me a picture in the email, just real quick, if you can. You don't even got to be in it. Just send me a picture you holding the hat. You feel me? I want the people to know. I want the people to see that. Jameer. Joshua Mullen says, dang, I love it. Sir Jam says, appreciate the love, Tone. Won that at an Eagles Chiefs Super Bowl party. That's fly, man. That's fly. So yeah, Jameer, send me a pic real quick, dog. So I can post on the live stream. You holding out on me, dog. Let's see. All right. All right. So like I said, we're doing a giveaway today. And you guys know the rules here. There's going to be a code word that pops up on the screen before we get out of here. There's going to be a code word that pops up on the screen. And when you see that code word, right? All right, Jameer, I appreciate it, bro. Thank you. I appreciate it. I'll show it on tomorrow's live stream then. Thank you. So, SB Ricky, he says, Tone, you need to do more of these earlier afternoon streams. It makes building these BMWs easy. Hey, listen, man, I appreciate you, my guy. Thanks for the love. I'm going to do my best to try to get these out as early as possible. I definitely didn't anticipate the turnout that you guys did, man. It's been dope. A lot of you guys here right now. So I really do appreciate you guys. So I'll do my best to try to get these out as early as possible. By the way, Ricky, be safe building those cars, man. Be safe. Fitness Roofer says, I appreciate it, Tone. Keep doing your thing. We are with you, bro. Hey, let's get it. The love is felt, man. The love is felt. So again, like I said, you guys know how this thing, you guys know how this giveaway works. You guys are going to see a code word that pops up, right? When the code word pops up, you have to email me at chalkitupsports52@gmail.com. You got to email me the code word. You got to email me your first and last name, and you got to email me your mailing address. That's how you enter for a chance to win free products, a free giveaway from me. All right. So When the code word pops up, make sure you write it down or you screenshot it, whatever you got to do. You take that code word and then you email it to me. With the code word, you got to email your first and your last name and your mailing address. Okay? That's how you enter for a chance to win. It's just that simple, you guys. That's the only way you enter for a chance to win. Code word, first and last name, mailing address. Send all of that to Chalk It Up Sports when the code word comes up, okay? Chalk It Up Sports 52 at gmail.com. That's the email. All right? So, without further ado, let's get this ball on the roll. This week's code word. This week's code word for the giveaway is Kelly Green 69. That's the code word, you guys. You see it right here. That's the code word. That's the code word, okay? Code word, first and last name, mailing address. You send the code word to Chalk It Up Sports 52 at gmail.com. That's the only way you enter for a chance. That's how Jameer won. That's how Mark Johnson won. That's how Keisha White won. Here's the code word again. You don't want to miss it. You got to email me. This is how you enter for a chance to win. And I picked these at random. And there are no repeat winners, you guys. I'm very intentional about that. No repeat winners. I want to give everybody an opportunity to win some Philadelphia Eagles merchandise. You got to email me the code word, your first and last name, your mailing address at chalkitupsports52 at gmail.com. All right? This is how it works. We got 77 people in the live stream. All of you guys have an opportunity here, right? All of you guys have an opportunity to win some Philadelphia Eagles gear by me or from me. Okay? My man Mark Johnson in the building. Jameer Adams in the building. Let's see. Damn, I ain't get no emails yet. I guess nobody want to win no don't want to win no. I got one. I got one. Once again, that code word, Kelly Green 69. That's the code word. That's how you enter. Kelly Green 69, first name, last name, or they rolling in now. First name, last name, and your mailing address. Make sure you don't mess up your mailing address now. Make sure you type. Make sure there's no typos. All right. The last thing I need is your gift going somewhere else. They rolling in now. Oh, okay. We got some people coming through. I want to give everybody a chance to win. I'm giving. Okay, yeah, we got a lot of people. I'm giving away stuff all throughout the season. Training camp, preseason, regular season, the playoffs. This is how you enter. This is how you enter. All right, yeah, we got a lot of people coming through. I like it. I like it. Gives me a ton of options here. I do this at random too. You know, I don't show no favoritism. It's all random. Code word Kelly Green 69. All right. Make sure you email me at chalkitupsports52@gmail.com. First name, last name, and mailing address. All right. Let me get to my final topic of the day before we get out of here. So, the preseason game, the first preseason game is coming up pretty shortly. Let's see what we got. Yeah, we got a lot of people coming through. I like it. I like it. My man S. Blunt, he says, that's dope giving back to the people. You already know, my guy. You already know. I got you, man. Y'all show me so much love here. Y'all show me so much love here. And you guys invest in my channel. You guys have donated with Super Chats. You guys have bought the merch. I got to get back to you guys. It's only right. It's only right. This is how this is how it works in this game, at least in my opinion, right? You can't just take from people. You got to give. You got to give something back. You got to give something back. Got to give something back. Got to give something back. All right, let's see. All right, yeah, so I want to get to my my final topic here. With the Philadelphia Eagles preseason game coming up against the Baltimore Ravens, right? They play on Friday, August 9th. I want to ask you guys a question because this has already come up, I believe, in some press conferences. Should the Eagles first team get the opportunity to start the game? And if so, for how long? For how long? Should the Philadelphia Eagles start their first team? How many reps? I'm always on the side of playing the first team in the first preseason game at the very least. And trust me, I would like to see Jalen Hurts and those guys out there for at least a drive. That's the kind of perspective. That's my perspective. I feel like you got to have those guys out there for at least a drive or two, just so they can knock the rust off, just so they can, get that first feeling of getting hit. You feel what I'm saying? On top of that, the Eagles, they've had a different start to their offseason work. This year they held mandatory minicamps. Remember, they didn't do that last offseason. They didn't do mandatory minicamps at all. As a matter of fact, I don't think they've done mandatory minicamps at all during the Nick Sirianni regime. They haven't done mandatory minicamps. They did that this offseason. Obviously, we know why. In addition, they held the public practice for well over 2 hours. A lot of you guys went to it. And typically those things last about an hour and a half, something like that, maybe around an hour 45. They were practicing at the Lincoln Financial Field for like 2.5 hours. Damn near 3 hours. They gave the people a show, and they wanted to get as much work in as possible. You feel what I'm saying? And even if it's not, to my man S. Blunt's point, right? Because he says no because the weather appears to be ugly. If it was a nice day, then I would say yes, but not with a tropical storm coming to the East Coast, not risking our top players out there. I feel you on that. Again, it doesn't have to be the Ravens game. I guess is what I'm trying to say. Maybe I should have been more clear. Thank you, S. Blunt, for clearing that up for me. Maybe I should have been more clear. Any preseason game, anyone, right? Any preseason game. Any preseason game. Do you guys want to see them out there for at least a drive or or the first quarter? And make sure you guys smash that like button, man. We had a lot of people in here. Had a lot of people in here. I only see 99 likes. That's crazy. We had like 150 people in here, 140 people in here. Only 99 likes. That's crazy. So make sure you guys smash that like button. It means a lot to me, man. It goes a long way. Thank you guys so much. So, like I said, they had mandatory mini camps. So they taking this offseason seriously. The public practice was long as hell. And it's been rumored and even softly mentioned by the players that this offseason, the coaches have been all business and holding everyone more accountable than ever before during the Sirianni era. You know, you can tell there's a heightened sense of urgency and there's a higher attention to detail that's being felt, right? You know, I think you even heard Paris Campbell say in one of his interviews how, you know, he was saying how, like, you know, training camp and all that kind of stuff has been pretty intense. And, you know, players were saying, listen, man, we ain't playing this year. They ain't playing. You know, we ain't got time to lollygag. And I feel that. So that begs the question, you know, could we see them out there for a full quarter? Is that possible? Or a couple series? And again, it doesn't have to be that Ravens game because I hear there's going to be a bad storm out there. So it doesn't have to be that Ravens game. But can it be that follow-up game? Who do they play next after that? The Patriots? Or the Vikings? One or the other. One or the other. Me personally, I would love to see some of those guys getting some reps. I would love to see it. That's my own opinion. That's all. I believe Jalen Hurts and those guys, even especially the defense. The defense definitely got to go out there and make some things happen. The defense got to go out there and, you know, show some level of high-level play. Now, obviously, it's going to be all vanilla stuff. They're not going to show anything really. They're not going to do anything really schematic. It's going to be very basic stuff. But I still want to see those guys move. Because I take the preseason seriously. I don't take it lightly. That's just my perspective. Anyway, you guys, we're about to get out of here. I really do appreciate all the love you guys have given me. It's been really, really dope. I don't take it for granted at all. Make sure you guys check out the Chalk It Up Sports merch shop where you can get your official Apex Predator Jalen Hurts oversized tee. I got the black one on right now. As you can see, this is the tan one, otherwise known as eucalyptus. If you guys are experiencing any sort of Wi-Fi issues for me, I apologize. The connection is starting to stabilize a little bit. Sorry about the glitchiness. But make sure you guys go check out the Chalk It Up Sports merch shop. The link is in the live chat. The link is located all over my YouTube channel. You can't miss it. Make sure you guys go check out the merch. I really do appreciate the love. I've gotten a lot of sales thus far, and I'm getting a lot of great feedback from it. I'm also getting some strange feedback as well. But regardless, I'm trying to focus more on the love. I'm trying to focus more on the love, and you guys are giving me a lot of love. So I really do appreciate that. So make sure you guys go get your merch whenever you get the opportunity, just in time for the regular season. And you guys will be laced up nicely. All right. It comes in 2 colorways. Comes in eucalyptus, otherwise known as tan, and it also comes in black. I'm wearing the black one right now. And trust me, it looks great and it feels great. So I appreciate you guys. I'm going to put up this code word one last time. This is the code word. Make sure you guys, if you want to enter for a chance to win a free giveaway from me, you have to email me at chalkitupsports52@gmail.com. That's chalkitupsports52@gmail.com. You have to email me the code word, your first and last name, and your mailing address. That's the only way you can enter for a chance to win a free giveaway from me, okay? Code word, first and last name, mailing address. All right? So I appreciate you guys for showing love. I want to give a shout out to my man Pro Fan Talk, aka Coach Marcus. I'm so grateful for him. for popping in and providing much needed insight on the Nick Sirianni, Jalen Hurts rumors. I'm grateful to him. I consider him a brother in this game. That's my OG. And, you know, he does great work for his channel as well. Make sure you guys, if you haven't already, let me make sure I highlight his YouTube channel. I want to make sure you guys know the kind of work he's putting in. I want to show you guys the kind of work he's putting in. He's doing great work. Let me bring this up. Go subscribe to my man, Pro Fan Talk. Pro Fan Talk. Go subscribe to him, okay? He's on his way to 4,000 subscribers, over 1,000 videos of content. He has so much content on there for you, man. I mean, look, he has a video up here that generated 69K views. Like, come on, man. You guys got to lock in. He has a ton of content ready for you guys. He's covering the Philadelphia Eagles. He's covering the WNBA, the NFL. He's covering the Olympics. He's giving you guys a ton of content, and he's definitely going to give you that Eagles flavor. So make sure you guys go subscribe to my man, Pro Fan Talk, a.k.a. Coach Marcus. Go lock in on that. That's a good brother, and he works hard, and I appreciate him. Y'all saw the insight he gave here. That same insight, that same perspective that you guys got from him today on this show, he's going to give you that same energy, that same perspective, that same insight on his channel, tenfold. He's one of the best doing it. He's one of the unsung content creators. He deserves way more than what he's got. That's a good man right there. So shout out to Pro Fan Talk, aka Coach Marcus. I really do appreciate him. Go subscribe to his channel. And we got somebody that's already about to subscribe. Shout out to my man, the real RMP. That's love. Go subscribe, you guys. All right. That does it for today's show. Once again, if you want a chance to win, email me, chalkitupsports52 or chalk it up sports52 at gmail.com. Email me the code word, your first and last name, and your mailing address, and it's straight like that. I'm your humble host, your illustrious host, Tone DeShields II, and you guys were locked in on a very fascinating edition of Chalk It Up Sports, where no matter if we win or if we lose, we just got to charge it to the game.